What's he on?
He is on mono blue aggro with like spell center sprites and things like that.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
So this is going to be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Leo here on mono blue aggro. So I assume Chris will have access to powerful cards such as Pyroblast, and those cards will play a huge role in this matchup. Post board.
Yeah, let's see what he's got here to work
So
with.
here I have Chris's list.
Oh, wow. Leo took something that looks a lot like a Pauper deck. He even has Cloud of Fairies once again. This is going to be pretty sweet. Let's hope he has enough disruption to handle one of the boogeyman of the format.
Here in Leo's deck, we see 2 Martyr of Frost, 4 Mistblade Shinobi, 4 Judge's Familiar, 3 Ninja of the Deep Power, 4 Spell Starter Sprite, and 3 Cloud of Fairies. For spells, we see 3 Force of Will, a Misdirection, 4 Disrupting Shoal, 4 Counterspell, 3 Spell Pierce, 4 Daze, 3 Standstill, and for lands, 14 Islands, and 4 Mishra's Factories. So this kind of harkens back to, who was the guy who played
Greg Hatch.
Greg Hatch? He played Mono Blue Martyr of Frost, and he used Sky Hussar as a draw engine.
Yeah, he had one of the most entertaining deck techs in Legacy history.
Yeah. This does look like a mono blue Pauper deck
Yeah. So
with
let's see if,
some legacy counterspells. So over here on Chris Van Meter's side, we see a very stock show and tell list, a sneak and show list. 4 Emrakul, 4 Grizzlebrand, 4 Lotus Petal, Preordained, Ponder, Brainstorm, all 4-ups, 3 Spell Pierce, 4 Force, 4 Show and Tell, 3 Sneak Attack, 2 Omniscience, 1 Jace, the Mind Sculptor, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 19 Assorted Lands.
Train Boy, Steve actually has not played a whole lot, but he recently moved over here. So we're hoping to see him some more and maybe get him on camera as well.
I believe he's originally from Tacoma, which is just south
really?
of us, an hour south of us.
That's
here
pretty
in
cool.
Seattle.
So these players are going to go shuffle up while we figure out our setup.
So who do you think is favored here?
I like Sneak and Show. I think they're a bit more redundant and they're the aggressive deck. Cards like Spell Starter Sprite aren't going to be very potent in this matchup. But, you know, I personally don't like playing Sneak and Show. I think it's a little bit prone to inconsistency, and that could certainly bite against a deck that does have access to counter magic. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think actually pre-board, I actually like Leo's deck a lot. He has access to a lot of counter magic, 3 Spell Pierce, 4 Days, which really punishes expensive spells such as Sneak Attack and Show and Tell.
Yeah, that's true.
This is definitely an aggro control deck of some sort. Post-board though, it might be a different story. But here we are, game 1.
Looks like CVM is on the play, and he's going to go lead off with a Scalding Tarn and presumably fetch a... Depends on if he knows what Leo's on. I think I would just... Okay, he's going to be conservative about this. And I imagine some sort of cantrip here. Whoops, looks like we lost the screen. Okay, here we go, Ponder.
There's a Ponder.
And he's hiding the cards pretty well. Oh, got an Emrakul, an Ancient Tomb, and a Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Depending on the content of the hand, these are quite good in
Fairly
general.
powerful.
Situationally, they could be a little bit weak, but I think he is in the market for that. He keeps off his Ponder and draws his Brainstorm.
He keeps, which makes me believe he probably has a business spell in hand. I don't know what's in the far left. Could be a Show and Tell.
Yeah, and he's gonna,
in fact, I think it is a Show and Tell.
Yeah, he's going to play a copy of Lotus Petal just in case his opponent is on a Chalice deck. And Leo just passes back with a beautiful Tempest Island. It's CVM's turn right now, and he might be able to go off as soon as his turn.
So I see a Lotus Petal, Ancient Tomb, and I believe a Spell Pierce. So what this allows CVM to do is cast Show and Tell with Daze backup, Spell Pierce backup, and he has a Spell Pierce of his own in case anything bad happens.
Yeah, wow, that's a really fast start.
Yeah. Definitely one of the advantages of a deck like Sneak and Show.
Yeah, especially on the play, having these access to these mana lands. Oh, and this is awkward. Leo is holding a copy of Misdirection. He's only playing 3 Force of Will, so if this were a Force of Will, he'd be much better off.
Yeah. Strangely, yes. Or maybe not so strangely.
Yeah, I guess not. He's going to go ahead and fire off presumably a Brainstorm. Oh, he's going to float mana and cast Daze.
I believe we'll see CV sacrifice a Lotus Petal to pay for that Daze.
Yeah. Which he does. No point in piercing that.
I don't think Leo actually has. Yeah, he doesn't have any answer for.
Yeah, and now he's going to be set back on turns. But you know what? This is skillfully playing around the annihilated trigger by making sure you have no lands in play. Can we go ahead and get the life pads a little bit closer underneath?
Ironically, Leo does have an out, but not in this position. But he does have an out in Emrakul and if he's in a different position.
Yeah.
If he were to have 2 creatures and he had a Mistblade Shinobi in his hand,
Yeah, what does that do?
he could bounce the Emrakul back to his opponent's hand. Obviously, he can't do it here.
Yeah.
But it's funny to think about
Things get blown up by.
the largest creature in the Magic multiverse being defeated handily by a 1/1 ninja.
Yeah. And Leo is going to go ahead and ship back this Emrakul is going to go munch in for 15 and take out that island, presumably. Does Chris even bother showing anything else? Now still an annihilated trigger, island's gone.
Yeah.
15 on the chin, right here. Leo's going to valiantly keep battling.
And Leo just hoping that Chris gets a game loss for some reason. Probably not going to happen. Oh, Brainstorm. So low opportunity cost to play that Brainstorm, right? Because it really doesn't tell Leo anything.
Yeah. I think
else
Leo
about
right
his
now
deck.
is going to do everything possible to disguise himself as though he were a Merfolk deck.
Yeah.
And I think if Chris played Age of Taxing Probe, which I don't believe he runs, I would just scoop right away.
So Chris finishes resolving that Brainstorm, passes the turn.
Oh no, he's locked.
Leo draw a card, and
Concedes.
that is game 1.
Yeah. So,
Let's look at sideboards here.
yeah, good time to do that. What do these guys have to work with in their sideboards?
So for Leo, what does Sapphire Charm do again?
It's the one that has some kind of phasing effect
Yeah, it
that's
has
useful,
phasing.
phasing out an artifact or a creature.
Do you really see anything from in Leo's sideboard?
I could potentially see Meekstone and definitely 2 Pithy Needles.
Yeah. Oh, Pithy Needle would be great against
Yeah.
Sneak Attack.
But
Yes.
I think potentially just that. Maybe the Deceiver Exarch, but it's pretty bad. I think Meekstone is a bit weak, but
For Chris probably doesn't know what Leo's on.
Yeah.
So for sure, the 2 cards that will come in are the Pyroblast and the Red Elemental Blast.
I could also see the Kozilek's return coming in.
Yeah.
Any market for Sudden Shock? I think if he thinks Leo's on Merfolk, I can't see that being useful.
I don't think Chris saw enough to bring in
Yeah.
multiple removal spells.
Yeah, well, Sage would probably be pretty good here, but he might put Leo on Merfolk, in which case you wouldn't necessarily want that.
If he puts Leo on some other kind of blue deck, more like a blue control deck.
Yeah,
of
I
some
can't think
sort,
of anything that
Fluster
goes
Storm.
basic Island Days. Maybe the Mirror. So maybe Through the Breach too.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, Boseiju. This is going to be an interesting sideboard for Chris since he has almost no information on what Leo is doing.
So the players are still sideboarding. I don't think these guys are going to be boarding a whole lot. Leo just because he doesn't have a whole lot of things to put in. Chris because he doesn't. Same applies to Chris, but he actually just doesn't have much information to work with yet at this point.
Leo could potentially board out the Mistblade Shinobi, since it's only relevant in a very narrow situation.
Yeah, what else do you think he might cut?
Well, what might he cut? I think he wants to leave in all his counter magic.
Yeah. Oh, 4 disrupting shoals.
Yeah.
That's spicy.
Honestly, a lot of Leo's deck is very good here. The Cloud of Fairies is a free 1/1 that also helps the Spell Starter sprite.
Yeah.
Ninja of the Deep Hours, card advantage engine. Judge's Familiar is probably actually really good in this matchup. Is Martyr of Frost, which acts as a counter spell on a stick. And then Leo just has a bunch of counter spells and 3 standstill, so he'll definitely board in the Pithy Needles. I can see him bringing in Sapphire Charm just to cycle.
I need to remind myself what the other modes were again.
It has the delayed draw.
Oh, the slow trip.
Yeah, the slow trip, I believe.
Target creature fades out. Target creature gains flying. Well,
Unfortunately for Leo, all of CVM's creatures will already have flying. So.
yeah. That's pretty interesting. You know, Leo, I think he plays a lot of Modern, and I think he usually plays some kind of Death and Taxes deck, so I was hoping he'd have this Death and Taxes deck as a foil to Sneak and Show, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It's funny, these guys have Blood Moon on one sideboard and Back to Basics on the other, and neither are going to be coming in, obviously.
So for Leo here, in your starting 7, I believe he would really want to see Judge's Familiar.
Yes,
right?
Judge Familiar, Force of Will.
If
stays,
CVM plays a turn 1 Ponder, do you just crack the Judge's Familiar right away? If let's say you have a Spell Starter spread in your hand or Cloud of Fairies.
No, I would not.
You'd save it for the money spells?
Yeah, if he mulligan down to 5, I'd probably start cracking it.
Sure.
But it's not just the money spells, it's also, even if the 1 mana tax doesn't make a difference, you want to be able to fight back when he fights back with a Power Blast or something.
Sure, absolutely.
And just having a clock and a creature on board is pretty important as well. But you know what? I'm certainly not a mono blue Martyr aggro expert. So guys, gonna go ahead shuffle. And it looks like they're just about ready to present. That was a lightning fast round 1, leaving us with almost 40 minutes left, even after sideboarding and shuffling. So what are these guys? I find it highly unlikely that this will go very long, but we'll see. So, yeah, Lay's 1992. The charms are for Batterskull. There's a really neat interaction when it comes to phasing a token out. It will take out the equipment, and then the phase out creature no longer exists, the phase out token, so the Batterskull gets exiled permanently if the Sapphire Charm resolves.
Oh, it's a really cool and weird interaction.
Yeah.
Probably one of the reasons why Wizards doesn't use phasing anymore as a mechanic.
It's so sweet. Old Fogey is like my spirit card. Phasing, cumulative upkeep 1, Echo, fading 3, bands with other dinosaurs, protection from hominids, snow-covered planeswalk, flanking, and rampage 2.
So are they both? I believe they're both taking a mulligan here.
They're both taking a mulligan. Old Fogey, one of the original planeswalkers.
You're awful. My favorite original planeswalker, was the the original Graceful Antelope.
Graceful Antelope, wow. Yeah, Sid Law says he's getting a black screen. Please let us know, chat, if there are any technical difficulties. We work really hard to try to bring this exciting format to you guys. We'd like to make sure everyone has a chance to see that. I think everything's working fine, including on my phone.
And going back to Old Fogey, speaking of mechanics that Wizards will never bring back, banding.
Banding with others, even better. I think we had a poll recently on Magic Seattle. You wanted banding, I wanted banding with others.
The banding is a great mechanic. No one knows what it does. It does something different when you're attacking and when you're blocking.
I mean, what do you think of when you think of Magic? I think of Benalis heroes.
Oh, I think of like Knight Errant and Thorn Elemental.
Yeah, that's Magic at its finest. Thorn Elemental, wow, that's such a good creature. All right, so it looks like both guys are content with their 6. They scry, and Leo's going to lead us off with an Island Pass. Same looking island too. I hope his artwork matches up. And
So-
he has a Force Will.
So Chris did actually bring in that sudden shock. So
Okay, cool.
Chris anticipating a creature deck of some sort.
All right, here we go. Mistress Factory into Standstill. This is one of the best openers on turn 2 for this deck.
It's very powerful against Chris's deck.
Chris is going to need to crack it at some point. He has no form of library manipulation whatsoever.
So the theory of cracking standstill is you either do it right away or you wait it out all the way. And here, Chris, I don't think Chris can wait. He can't afford to wait.
Well, what's he working with right here? I think there is some merit to seeing how many lands Leo has and then possibly cracking on his end step. If you get your opponent to have 8 cards because they're missing land drops, then cracking on their end step becomes very desirable.
Chris, thumbing that sudden shock.
I think this is a good time to fire it off.
All right,
So
all
sudden
right.
shock. Make sure you announce the standstill trigger.
This makes
Great.
a lot of sense.
Sacrifice it. Draw 3. I think that was a perfect time to crack it.
Yes.
So sudden shock right here. Nice way to get rid of hate bears.
So Chris, in a sense, cracking that standstill right away, just decided to kill the Mistress Factory.
7 cards exactly for Leo. So he got full value out of that standstill, but he got set back on a land drop. So Chris is going to go ahead and draw for the turn. He has access to 5 mana this turn already between that Ancient Tomb and 1 Lotus Petal in his hand.
Chris's hand looks very, very powerful. I believe
Yeah.
that's a Pyroblast. I see a Force of Will. I think he has a Show and Tell.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
man.
believe. I
But
think
you know-
Chris is just gonna.
I think Leo's hand's quite good too.
Oh, that's a sneak attack.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's got a Pierce right here. Why not fire it off right now?
Yeah.
Spell Pierce, target your sneak attack. Chris is going to need to fight back right here. Oh, no, actually, no, I would have liked playing Show and Tell. If that gets countered, then you still have a sneak attack there. Well, that saving the Show and Tell would allow him to have fodder for the Force of Will. But if he's not playing the Force of Will right here, then I think he should have just jammed the sneak and show. Jammed the Show and Tell. And he decides not to do that, so I would like just playing the Show and Tell.
So Chris wisely deciding not to fight here.
All right.
I think he realizes that Leo just drew 3 cards. He has 7 cards in hand.
Yeah.
He has so much gas, and there is no way Chris could win a counter war. It would be very devastating for him.
Yeah, Leo also has another standstill in his hand, I believe, so some merit to going ahead with that. Chris picked up a very timely red elemental blast. This is going to be met by a Show and Tell. Chris is certainly going to force right here. Let's fight.
And I think Chris here will Pyroblast.
Yeah. Pitches a Daze.
He doesn't have to 2-for-1 himself here, which is very, very huge.
And this right here, there's some merit to holding the Daze because you have the Judge's Familiar, but this Spell Starter Sprite is going to presumably take care of the red elemental blast.
Former Standard All-Star and current Pauper All-Star Spell Starter Sprite.
Yeah, so right here. Now it's going to double the clock. Goblin Welder, I don't know if Leo has APAC Islands, but those are Tempest Islands that you see on the battlefield.
My personal favorite is the 7th edition Islands.
Oh yeah, I prefer beta whenever possible.
And a Back to Basics. This is very,
Oh, he brought
very
in back to basics.
devastating.
And with all these taxing effects, I can't see CBM getting out of this. So Brainstorm, any merit to just going ahead and dazing this with the Judge's Familiar? I consider this now because the pedal is pretty valuable when
exactly.
Back to Basics has your opponent locked down. So that Brainstorm's going to resolve, but at the cost of the Lotus Petal, trading with the Judge's Familiar.
No, it does not play Niv Magus Elemental.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Niv Magus Elemental in Leo's deck.
So we see a land and a Through the Breach
All right, cool.
and a Preordain. I believe that's a Grizzlebrand also.
That's a lot of mana. Right now, you go for a basic mountain here, right? You want to draw live to your red blasts. Oh, he goes for an island instead.
I think he just wants to cast a Preordain.
Oh, on the same turn. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And in fact, he does not run a basic mountain, so
Worst
So much for
comes to
that.
worst, if he draws any volcanic islands, he can use those as lotus petals essentially.
yes. Chris ask how many cards he's working with. I think the standstill is about to get dropped this turn.
So while Leo is actually in a really good position, Leo doesn't have a threatening clock.
Yeah. Ha! You try to sudden shock my Mistress Factory? Well, how about this? Back to basics.
Oh, and we'll see a standstill here.
Standstill hitting the battlefield. Enchantments and 1/1 flyers beat down.
Emrakul for CVM.
Yeah. Would you send in here with Mistress Factory? I think I just hold back. You want mana open.
Yeah.
You don't want to send it in when there's a back to basics on the battlefield. In for 1. CVM's going to drop to 11. Some of this self-inflicted from the Ancient Tomb. He needs to draw show and tell at the very least. But he's ripping lands off the top. He's got both his fatties in his hand. 22 damage if he can get a sneak attack to resolve, but that's going to be pretty difficult through his standstill and whatever Leo has to work with.
So Leo actually doesn't have any counter magic here.
Yeah. Why did he take 2 off of that swing? Did he forget to update from last turn? I think that was actually the case, so
Yeah.
looks like the life totals are accurate. 19 to 10 in Leo's favor. Chris is going to pass right back. Not expose his volcanic islands to any wastelands, which actually don't exist in Leo's deck, but I like that heads up play.
Yeah. No reason to expose them.
Yeah. Another land. Oh, he's not going to play the Judge's Familiar. Interesting.
Interesting. Oh,
Maybe
he does because he has standstill in play.
Oh, yes. Correct.
No reason
Totally
to crack
correct.
standstill.
Thought I was skillfully playing around Kozilek's return, but that makes a lot of sense. Leo's going to go ahead and draw for the turn. Is that another land? Okay, so it's going to send in for 1 more with a Spellcutter Sprite. Has another one at the ready. 6 lands in play. Standstill presumably could draw into more interaction. This is great. He's in a commanding position. Ponder is going to break the standstill. Leo's going to go ahead and draw 3.
See a factory, a shoal, and a Spellstar Sprite, I believe. No,
Yeah.
that
there we
Sprite
go.
is very powerful.
Yeah, doubles the clock.
So I think if I'm, Leo here.
Oh, triple the clock. Oh, man. Spell Stutter Sprite, guys.
Jeez.
This is tribal Spell Stutter Sprite. Here we go. Just leave this beautiful card.
One of the cards that made Fairies the powerhouse in Standard during Lorwyn block
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Lorwyn
man.
Standard.
3 damage in hot, dropping Chris to 4 to 5. He's going to be dead next turn if he can't find an answer. Maybe a Kozilek's return? And a Spell Pierce. This is not going to do it. He's going to concede. He can't even kill himself with the Ancient Tomb if he wanted to right now.
Oh man.
So this is going to knot things up at 1 game apiece and take us to a 3rd game.
But what
That
a
was
way to
pretty sweet.
go. What a way to go.
What a way to go indeed.
Spell Stutter Sprite beatdown.
So let's go back to the sideboards. What are these players working with? I think Chris has a little bit more information to work with now. What does he want?
So, the sudden shocks are probably good. He might consider the Kozilek's return right here.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Fluster Storm, Boseiju, if that's not in, will definitely come
Echoing
in.
Truth to deal with the spell stutters.
Yeah.
I don't think that's coming in, but
No,
I mean,
you're a genius, Sean.
I do like hearing that. But CVM is the guy that we are featuring right now, and he'll have to figure out how to piece together his combo through the spell stutter sprite menace.
If I'm Leo here, do you take out the back to basics? I think you do, right? Because
Well,
you expect CVM to play around it.
the only difference right now is he's on the play versus on the draw. I'm sorry, CVM's on the play rather than the draw. I wouldn't have brought him back to basics for game 2 even, but but Leo thought it was worthwhile and actually did some work that game.
Yeah, and
So does that really put him off of it?
well, I think the advantage of having back to basics is the surprise factor. CVM
Yeah.
is not expecting back
Yeah.
to basics.
I think I'd even rather have a Deceiver, Exarch, and the Meek Zone. What a combo. What a
Well,
combo.
I think there is merit to keeping some amount of back to basics in. If a CVM draws a card like Ancient Tomb,
Yeah.
he's going to play it, and by default, you get a shut. You turn those Ancient Tombs into only one use.
Yeah, they're like
2/3
city
of Lotus
traders
or
that
whatever. Yeah.
take damage. But yeah, that's for these guys to decide. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but it's going to be pretty sweet. Sid Laws, we have 6 rounds of Swiss today, plus a cut to top 8. Hopefully it's going to go the full 3 rounds. So we'll bring you 9 rounds of some of the finest Legacy action. And we're glad you're here with us.
The finest.
The finest. All the most powerful wizards in Seattle are gathered here.
Or in LA.
No. Right here.
How many rounds is it today? 6, I believe?
Yeah, I just answered the question. But
Oh, I did not.
In fact,
I was
6.
not listening. That shows you how much I respect my co-host here. A lot is the answer.
yeah, he's just
Legacy Master.
studying the deck list so carefully.
Oh,
This Charles
yeah.
Long. So,
Much respect, Sean.
yeah. Chris is going to reset his life total back to 20. Leo is going to start at 19, I guess, or we're going to eventually get this fixed. But right now, things are. Yeah, players are going to consider Leo. Chris is going to pile count. Let's get another gander at the metagame breakdown real quick. Once we have some more information to work with. So it looks like still 36 decks represented here. Ah, jeez. This keyboard is driving me nuts. These guys are still taking their allotted time to sideboard and shuffle, and we're just biding time right here until we can see some fireworks, because once the match starts, it's going to be fast and furious.
Yeah, actually, this matchup is super fascinating.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
Many of Leo's creatures do double duty as both threats and as effective counterspells.
Yeah, certainly.
And Chris here, he just needs to resolve one.
Yep.
And it's just a race, right? Or a marathon on.
I'd say that's pretty accurate. The 1/1s don't clock quite as quickly as Grizzlebrands or Emrakul's, but they do eventually get there.
So this was over here at when I pulled out here, I
All right, so looks like Chris is happy with his 7, but Leo's going to ship his back.
And every card mattering in this matchup.
I agree.
Especially for Chris, I would say. Leo does have some comeback cards and standstill.
Yeah.
Ninja of the Deep Hours can definitely draw him a couple of cards. But for Chris, he needs every single mana. One Lotus Petal can mean pain for days. It can mean pain. It pays for half a Spell Pierce.
Yeah. I think Chris's best bet is just get off, really start, because Leo has a lot of slow disruption. Sorry, we're just figuring things out right here while Leo resolves his mulligan. And it looks like Leo is happy. He's going to scry, and Chris starts things off with a ponder.
So we see Double Brainstorm. I believe that's a Pyroblast. Ancient Tomb, Chris. So I don't know what his last card is, but he's either looking for a show and tell sneak attack kind of effect or a big fatty.
I really like just more enablers because Leo's compelled to counter each one.
Yes. Whereas you only need one fatty.
You can even bluff by casting one of them despite having nothing to put in. And it might be go time next turn. So Leo's going to go ahead.
Draws a standstill. I believe I saw Factory.
You know what would be the sickest ballsy call? Leo has nothing to put. Oh, that a martyr?
Oh, we got a reader.
What is that right there?
It's Martyr of Frost.
Indeed. Wow.
It's a cycle from Cold Snap, along with Martyr of Ashes,
Sands.
Martyr of Sands. Well, I forget what the other ones were.
I don't remember either, but I have in fact seen this card in Legacy. Martyr of Ashes, Bones, Frost, Sands, and Spores.
Spores. I believe Spores was a pump spell, and Bones exiled cards from the graveyard.
Yeah.
I don't know if you did you do any cold snap drafts? I know you're not much of a draft.
Nope. I've drafted twice ever in my life. One Modern Masters 1, one Modern Masters 2. I'm looking forward to Eternal Masters.
Well, former R&D member Bill Stark says cold snap was his favorite draft format ever,
Oh, wow.
which is very high praise for a format that was universally disliked. And the reason why he liked it was the reason why everyone did not enjoy it, and that was the games are stupid.
Now, was that drafted with Ice Age and Alliances?
No, it wasn't.
Because they retrofitted that to form that block.
Oh no, it was not. Ice Age Alliance. I've seen someone do Ice Age Alliance Cold Snap draft, and it ended up being everyone just played a bunch of Cold Snap cards.
So Leo aggressively used that Daze to prevent Brainstorm from getting the full shuffle effect. That was pretty cool. I think it's often correct. I don't like that in this case because this takes him off of Martyr of Frost activation right now, and Chris doesn't really have great ways to deal with Martyr of Frost. He has to kill it first.
Yeah.
And then resolve his cards.
Chris here, I believe he has a Pyroblast. Oh, and he just resolves. And this is not good news for Leo.
Yeah. He's still figuring out what he wants to put in. I'm not sure if he has anything. If he's taking this long, certainly no Sword of Temptation, for instance, is going to be slammed on the battlefield. No Gilded Drakes.
So his best hope is that maybe he still left Mistblade Shinobi in his deck. So that would actually allow him to attack through.
That looks like a Ninja of the Deep Hours, right?
Yeah.
It's Ninja of the Deep Hours, for those of you familiar. Very important card in mono blue aggro decks in Pauper, but this is not Pauper. This is a format with a significantly more expansive card pool. Grizzlebrand draws 7 cards at a time. Ninja of the Deep Hours draws 1. It's not gonna work out for Leo right here.
Yeah, failing having Mistblade Shinobi.
You know what my favorite play would have been? If Leo put Chris on a bluff, like trying to bait out counter magic with show and tell, having Stone Cold Nothing,
and it was
puts
nothing.
in a standstill.
Oh.
How sick would that have been?
Yeah, but Chris is better than that. He's not in the position.
Well,
He's not
no,
in that kind of position.
I don't think it's about being better. I think sometimes you do just like try to bait out counter magic before you drop an enabler.
Absolutely. But and Leo does have the Mistblade Shinobi here.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna go and attack with both. Chris is actually at 9 life already, but that's after activating Grizzlebrand once.
Unfortunately for Leo here, Chris has a Pyroblast to deal with its Mistblade Shinobi, so we're going to see a counter war, and one that I believe Chris will win. If he wasn't able to counter the quickly reads the Mistblade Shinobi. If Leo wasn't able to counter the show and tell, then I have a hard time imagining he has something for this Pyroblast.
Mental misstep, dude. All right, so this looks like it's going to clear out Leo's board and gain CVM 7 life. This match looks over, but not quite yet. So we're going to go.
It's over in spirit.
Bitter end. He's going to follow that up with his Martyr of Frost that he picked up to the Mistblade Shinobi. CVM draws for the turn, picks up another land. I think he's in good shape right now. He's going to draw 7 with Grizzlebrand, taking him down to 9. It's interesting enough, he can't draw another card and tap that Ancient Tomb, or at least pre-combat. So he's hoping to hit Sneak Attack right here. Through the Breach might be just enough.
Yeah, Chris just going through the motions. Things not looking great for Leo.
Plenty of cards for CVM to work with. He's gonna go ahead and draw 7 more. So that Ancient Tomb is now turned off. He's probably looking for Show and Tell into Sneak Attack here. He has 1/2 of it, and then just put in a land, put in his Emerald Core, and just end the game on the spot. Looks like he found at least 2/3 of it. Does he have a Sneak Attack?
He has a City of Traders and a Through the Breach. So that will allow him to through the breach in.
Just make sure you don't tap Make sure you don't tap the Ancient Tomb. That's good. Go ahead and drop in that Through the Breach. Do you have an answer, Leo? Daze would actually work right here.
He does not have days for days.
Put in the Emrakul, and it's going to send in for 22. And that's
that
going to
is
be the game. So that's a quick match in favor of Leo. We're going to take us back to the booth. Sorry, in favor of CVM.
Yep.
Let's see if we get a backup match on camera. So once again,